I press mute, come over here. But you mute it. Okay.
We will be starting in 30 seconds. Testing, one, two, three. What's that? Good morning. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. We have adapted our regular business education workshops at City Hall into these webinars until further notice. Please note, any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat. For those seeking business license assistance, we strongly encourage the process of license and permits online. Business license can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org, or you can call 312-74-GO-BIZ. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn more about this program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat. We'd like to encourage all attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Please note that the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. Today's webinar is entitled Sidewalk Signs and Public Way Use. At this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Jamie for us to begin.
Thank you, Stella. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Department of Business Affairs, Consumer Protection, Sidewalk Signs, and Public Way Use webinar. My name is Jamie Viramontes. I am a business consultant here at the Small Business Center, currently overseeing the Public Way Use unit. Today's webinar, we'll be speaking about one of the mayor's Shy Biz initiatives, which is allowing sidewalk signs on the public way. This will be effective on March 1st. Let's get into it. So today's agenda, first we'll be going over using the public way, just general information and the different types of public way use that we have out there today that are permitted. Secondly, we'll go over the sidewalk signs, what they are, how to apply, and the permit responsibilities for those sidewalk sign permits. We'll then go through the permitting process, which has changed a little bit. We are no longer doing paper applications. All applications for permits are now being reviewed online. And then again, like Stella said, we will have a moment for Q&As, specifically regarding this webinar today, sidewalk signs. Any questions you may have? So let's begin with the first. So using of the public way. What is the public way? The public way is the city's streets, sidewalks, and parkways. Those are all considered the public way. This means that the city is the landlord. So in order for a business or property owner to occupy that public way, a permit is required. There are three broad categories of the public way use occupation. One is above grade. For example, these are your canopies, your awnings, your signs, light fixtures, balconies, banners, bay windows. These are all above the public way. Now we go on to at grade or on grade. This is on the street level. These are for some of your permits that are planters, decorative pavers, ballards, windscreens, kiosks, including sidewalk cafes. This specific permit, the sidewalk sign, would be on street level, so it would be at grade, on grade. The other is under street level. These are below grade permits. These most likely are vaults, conduits, earth retention systems, irrigation systems, grease basins, and so forth. So again, just for these sidewalk signs, when applying, you will be choosing at grade on the street level. So here are just a couple most common public use types that we see come through the office. Most of them are signs, your awnings, your sidewalk cafes, canopies, light fixtures, planters, banners, fence, trash containers, security cameras, and other, just to name a few, your bike racks. All of these things do take up space on the public way, so you would need a sign, you would need a permit specifically to occupy that space. So as our main topic today, what is a sidewalk sign? So the sidewalk sign means an A-frame, T-frame, or other temporary self-supporting type sign placed on the public sidewalk. A sidewalk sign does not include a sign placed on private property. Again, this is for the public way. So anything that's on the private property, we are not permitting. This is only to use the space as far as the sidewalk. So what is a sidewalk sign permit? So as everybody should know, it is unlawful for any person to place, install, or knowingly maintain on the surface of the public way a sidewalk sign or a structure or device to which such a sign is affixed without a sidewalk sign permit. The sidewalk sign permit is valid for 5 years with a $100 permit fee per year. Every year, you would get a fee of $100, periodical renewal. At that time, you also have to submit a updated insurance, just so everyone's aware. Sidewalk sign permit is non-transferable. At the end of the permit application approval, a decal will be issued, which must be affixed to the sidewalk sign and made visible and unobstructed at all times. So at the end of the permit application, after all approvals have gone through the inspecting departments, there will be a point where I will issue a decal and mail them out to the business address, which can be affixed to the sidewalk sign. And again, this needs to be made visible and unobstructed at all times so that if inspectors do come by, they're able to see that decal. A permittee holding a permit for a sidewalk cafe should not be issued a permit for a sidewalk sign. So again, if you do have a sidewalk cafe, you are not able to be issued a permit for a sidewalk sign. Now, if you would like to have a sidewalk sign in the borders of your sidewalk cafe, that is totally fine. We do not need to permit that. Just make sure to distinguish that you would have an A-frame or a T-frame sign within the borders of the sidewalk cafe application when you do apply, or if you are renewing. So there is fine and penalties, not less than $200, no more than $500 for each offense. Each day such a violation continues shall be deemed a separate and distinct offense. So operating conditions. Here are some of the operating conditions. You'll be able to find more when applying and on our website. We'll have those lists of operating conditions. And when you are applying as well, it will show those permit restrictions as well. So you guys can have in front of you. So just to go over a few, a sidewalk sign must be placed on the sidewalk in front of the licensed business and comply with all approved specifications set out in the permit application. The sidewalk sign must be placed so as to maintain an uninterrupted 6-foot clear pedestrian path. It should be placed no less than 2 feet from a curb, 30 feet from an intersection, 20 feet from a crosswalk ramp, 12 feet of a driveway alley, or 6 feet from a bicycle rack. It must allow 10-inch cane detection. The sign may be no larger than 6 square feet in area per face and no more than 4 feet in height. It must contain information only for goods and services provided on premises by the permittee pursuant to the permittee's licensing. Sidewalk sign must not be displayed when weather creates a potential hazard, such as during high winds. A good thing I should just suggest to all businesses for any kind of alert is signing up for our Shy Biz alerts. Those will give you such alerts specifically to your business location regarding high winds and other alerts, so that if there are high winds, you guys can bring these A-frames or T-frame signs in, so there's no worry. The sidewalk sign must not be affixed to the public way. Again, so it must be able to be removed. It can't be affixed to the sidewalk. Sidewalk sign must not contain decorations, accessories, or appendages. Should contain only static copy and sign faces, and should be constructed of a sufficiently sturdy material to remain upright on its own. Again, I just want to make a note that there's only one sidewalk sign allowed per street address. And again, if you do have a sidewalk cafe, you are not allowed for a sidewalk sign permit. And again, just once more, you are able to have the sidewalk sign, the A-frame, inside the borders of your sidewalk cafe without being permitted. But I make sure that when you are either applying for that sidewalk cafe, or if you are renewing that sidewalk cafe, that you are showing the sign on the actual site plans for the sidewalk cafe. Again, this information will be available for you on the web portal when applying. There will be hyperlinks to these operation conditions, to the municipal code, as well as diagrams, which we will look into. So what's the application checklist overview? So what we're looking for is a photograph of the sign itself, and photograph of the outside area of where you would like to place this sign. So just a picture of the front of your business, just the area of where exactly the sign will be placed. We'll then ask for plans. It is a site plan. Again, we will have a sample on our website when you are applying, so that you could see what we're looking for. It should show, the plans should show both the A-frame or the T-frame dimensions. We're looking at the area, we're looking for the height, the width, and the depth. On the plans itself, that's where we're going to be looking to specifically where you are placing this outside on the sidewalk from your business. Again, you'll have to show the 6-foot clearance and any of those operational conditions on your exact site plan. You want to see those dimensions. If you are near a bike rack, show us how far you are from the bike rack, from the crossing ramp, how far you are from the building, how much clearance of sidewalk path do you have. We need to see all of that stuff on the plans itself. The other thing is the insurance requirements, again, which is on the website, which you would have that information. All of this information can be found in the Municipal Code 1028-360 through 1028-425. You will have a hyperlink again on the web portal that will guide you to this municipal code, so that you guys can read through it, see the operational conditions and things like that. So just make sure you guys know your responsibilities and read up on the municipal code and the operation conditions as well. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the public use permit process. Since it has changed, we are no longer accepting paper applications. All permitting has gone online for renewals and also for brand new applications. So to begin the application process, you are going to visit ipi.cityofchicago.org/profile. There you are going to create an account. If you already have a business account, you will then get linked to that business account. It will ask for your business account number, which could be found on your license on the left-hand corner under the mayor's signature. That's what you want to do to claim your business. Once you do claim that business account, you will see all permits that you may have at that specific location or under your account just in general, if you have multiple locations. So this new web portal improves the efficiency and effectiveness of the public way use permitting by allowing applicants and existing permittees to apply for new permits, renew existing permits, and pay fees, annual and outstanding debt online. So again, if you are doing these renewals, if you're doing an annual payment, you would be able to log in, pay that annual fee, and then also you'll have to upload a current updated insurance. This can all be done through the online permitting system. So again, create an account. Once you create an account, it's pretty straightforward. You wanted to begin the application process and apply for the permit specifically, which will then state BACP grant of privilege. Step 2 will be completing the application. So again, expect to provide the following. Some application requirements may vary, but for most part, what you'll need is the applicant information, the public way use information, which is including the location of the public way use, the location of where that sign is, where that sidewalk sign is, where the sidewalk cafe is, where the bench is, where the bike rack is, the specific location of where that public way is in use. Again, photographs, you want to have photographs of the area of the building where you decide where you're planning to place this sidewalk sign, and a picture of the sidewalk sign if you do have it. You also then have to upload a plan or diagram. Again, this would be the site plan showing where exactly you have this A-frame out in the sidewalk and showing the dimensions, showing that it's 6-foot clearance for pedestrians to walk through, showing that it's not near a cross ramp, anything like that. So you want to show us specifically where it is from the building, and show us those dimensions on the plans. You will also need to submit the general liability insurance with the proper liability limit amounts, which is no less than $1 million, and noting that the city is additionally assured. Step 3 and final step will be submitting your application. You submit a complete public way use application to BACP for intake review. Once this application is submitted, it is referred to the appropriate inspecting departments for approval. This will be reviewed by us as an intake. It will then have to be recommended by the Alderman's office. After that, we have 2 inspecting departments. We have Mayor's Office of People with Disability, as well as CDOT. Once CDOT and Mayors of People with Disabilities have entered their approval, that's where you guys will get notified that it's ready for a payment. Once you pay for that permit fee, after all approvals were entered, that's when we will get a notification for a decal. I will create a decal and mail it to the business address. That should be, again, affixed to the sidewalk sign and made visible. So just a couple of general things you should know about renewing your permit. Each permit, again, is valid for 5 years. You will be billed each year. The general liability insurance must be resubmitted and remain current each year, or the permit would automatically void. At the end of the 5-year term, the application process will need to be repeated. So again, you will get these periodic renewals that you will have to pay the annual fee. Once you're paying that annual fee, at that same time, you're going to want to update a current general liability insurance. At the end of the 5-year term, that's when you'll renew the permit in its entirety. You would have to go through the process. You, again, submit the plans, submit the photos, and submit an updated general liability insurance. If things haven't changed, you can use the previous year's plans and photos on the renewal application so that we can review. Make sure any city debt you must be resolved prior to the issuance or renewal of any public way use permits. So if you do have city debt, make sure you are taking care of that before the application has gone into approval, because we will not be able to issue a public way use permit without any city debt that is not resolved. Again, operating without a permit, using the public way without the proper permits could subject you to removal order and fines between $25 and $500 per violation, depending on the type of public way use occupations. So make sure, guys, again, if we are using the sidewalk, if we have a sign up, if we have anything that's encroaching the sidewalk that you may be, reach out to us. We can let you know if you will need a permit for it, but most likely if it's over the public way, it needs to be permitted. So get on top of that. Just a couple facts about the Sidewalk Cafes. Sidewalk Cafe permits have now 11-month term and must be applied for and issued every year. So the Sidewalk Cafe season begins on March 1st, now ends on February 28th. So at this moment, we are receiving renewals or new applications for this season's Sidewalk Cafe. The annual non-refundable Sidewalk Cafe permit fee varies depending on the size and location of the Sidewalk Cafe. However, the minimum Sidewalk Cafe permit fee is $600. So I just want to go over a couple common questions that I received. How long is the public way use permit good for? Again, this public way use permit is good for a 5-year term, but you are billed annually, that $100. The only permit that is not for a 5-year term is the Sidewalk Cafes. Sidewalk Cafe permit is an annual permit with a term from March 1st to February 28th. How do I know when I need a public way use permit? Anything that encroaches outside your property line, over or below grade, is required to apply for a public way use permit. Again, so that's just something you need to really take in. Is it's anything that encroaches outside your property line. If it's on the property, if it's on your private property, it does not need to be permitted. Can I transfer a public way use permit to a new owner or business at that location? Public way use permit is technically non-transferable, but as a business-friendly piece to our public way use process, there are some situations that permits can be transferred that are unchanged and do not intend to be changed, or permanently unmovable / unchanged structures. Some examples would be the vault, a light fixture, or canopy and awning without lettering or business logo. Let's say also there is a sign there that currently says Jamie's Tacos, and there's a new owner that wants to come in and he actually wants to use my business name as Jamie's Tacos. If he is going into that same place and not changing that sign permit would be transferable. What do I do if I do not have a business license with the city of Chicago and I do not have an account number, since I am regulated through state licensure or own the property? So to create an account with the Department of Business Affairs Consumer Protection, you just need to fill out our business information sheet and submit it as part of your application. Again, through the application process, you will be asked for a business account number and site number. If you do not have one, don't worry, you could skip that question. And then when it's asking you to upload all documents, there will be a hyperlink for that business information sheet so that you guys can fill out and include as one of the uploads for your application. At that point, that's when we'll create a business account for you guys, and then the application can move forward. So I'm gonna leave it up for questions and answers. Again, these questions should be specific to the sidewalk signs. Any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Reach out to us at 744-GO-BIZ or come into down to City Hall, room 800. We're more than happy to answer your other questions. If the question doesn't pertain to sidewalk signs today, feel free to email us at publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org. So again, if you have any other question that doesn't pertain to the sidewalk sign webinar that we had today, please feel free to email us those questions at publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org. I'll leave it up to you guys now.
Jamie, we have some questions. Is a valet sign require a permit?
Yes, a valet sign, it does require a permit. That would be going through CDOT. So you would have to go through CDOT for that valet sign, yes.
Can you please address open house signs for real estate agents?
Yeah, so we encourage all such signs to be placed on the private property as opposed to the public way. Sidewalk signs are tied to a licensed business, and the content of such signs must be limited to advertisement or goods or services offered by that licensed business. So all permit applications will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis.
If I put a frame sign in an alley, does that require a permit?
That is correct. And again, there is restrictions from an alley. Let me put these up real quick. You can, but again, it will require a permit. And again, I just want to put this here. It must be 12 feet of a driveway or alley. So not specifically in an alley, you cannot be, but it must be 12 feet of a driveway or alley. Again, these should be in front of the licensed business.
We have another question. It's a sidewalk cafe, the same as patio seating outside of a restaurant?
Yes and no. It all depends. Sidewalk cafe, again, will be over the public way. If this was a private It is different private property that would be outside patio. And again, it goes into a little bit more detail regarding whether you have liquor or not. So if you have a specific situation or instance, please feel free to reach out to us with your business information at publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org. And then we can look a little bit deeper into that and see where you fall.
How about sidewalk requirement in the plaza, where sidewalks are no wider than 6 feet?
So again, there is some areas that that would be allowed and not be allowed to have these sidewalk signs. So again, if you want to send us that address to publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org, we'll be able to look at that and give you a little bit more detail regarding your specific situation.
The permit only pertains to signs that are actually on sidewalks, not in a green space in front of your business, correct?
That is correct. So again, this is any kind of sidewalk signs that are on the public way, meaning the sidewalk or the public way itself. So if this is on private property, there's no permit that is required.
What is the turnaround time? I'm sorry, it's moving.
Turnaround time is about a month currently for issuance of that decal.
Will decals be sent yearly, and is it prorated?
There's no prorations. There is a $100 annual fee again, and these decals will be sent once. Let's say if the decal is worn or cannot be readable anymore, you would be able to reach out to us just to get a new decal issued.
Some businesses use more than one A-frame. How many A-frame signs are allowed, and does each sign require a permit?
Only one sidewalk sign is allowed per street address. So yes, you can only use one per street address. And any sign on the public way will need to be permitted.
Okay, valet signs go through CDOT. Is that permit included with a valet license?
No, those are two separate things.
If an outdoor patio is solely placed on private property, are we required to have a fence and adhere to the 6-foot space requirements?
If it is on private property, not necessarily. Again, if you have a specific situation, feel free to contact us at publicwayuse@cityofchicago.org so we can look more into that.
Can an A-frame be a chalkboard type where you may change the promo message for the business as needed?
Definitely, as long as it's a 6 square feet in area per face, you're more than welcome to change any kind of verbiage or any advertisement that you have on that sidewalk sign.
Let's see. Back to alley signs. If it's not in front of the business, but it directs people to the business. It's jumping. I'm sorry, Jamie. Back to alley signs. If it's not in front of the business, but it directs people to the business, which is in the rear of, is this okay?
It would have to be, again, from a 12 feet, and it should be in front of the business. So again, if you do have a specific situation where you're trying to give direction to your business and it's someone in an alley, feel free to email us that address, and then we'll look into it and just review it on a case by case.
So from March 1st to February 28th, the sidewalk signs is valid for the entire year?
No, so again, the Sidewalk Cafes is the permit that is good from March 1st until February 28th. These are sidewalk cafes. Sidewalk signs are a 5-year permit. They are good for 5 years. you'll be making an annual payment of $100 per year up to that 5 years. After that 5 years comes and that permit expires, you'll renew that permit in its entirety for another 5 years.
Does the owner of the business or a third party need to apply for the application on behalf of the owner?
It should be the business owner that would be applying for the sidewalk sign.
Can a catering company with no physical brick and mortar have a sidewalk sign in front of their residence or on the sidewalk?
You are not allowed on your residence to display any kind of business information like that. So you cannot have that in front of your house.
If a business is on a corner and has 2 entrances, can 2 signs be permitted?
No, again, it's 1 sidewalk sign per street address. This includes addresses that are extended as well. That would be considered 1 street address.
Looks like we don't have any more questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Don't forget to stay connected with us. I'm sure this webinar will be placed on YouTube for later references. Make sure to follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud as well.
All right. Thanks, everyone.